Hi everyone, welcome back to Gloucester Golf Centre, myself Joe Lovery. So I'm in the downstairs AT Performance Studio today, and the reason I'm in here is because I want to talk to you guys about wedges. So I've just got some new wedges that I'm going to unveil to you guys in a moment, but I want to talk to you about the process that went in behind purchasing those wedges. What did I actually do? How did I go about it? Because wedges for me are some of the most important clubs in the bag. I think that if you get them wrong, you're going to make that short game so much harder than what it should actually be. So let's have a look. I'll show you the new wedges. I'm quite excited actually to reveal these to you. And yeah, let's see. Okay, so guys, I went for the Callaways, which you can see here. Now you can see I went for 3 wedges. And there is a reason behind that. And one of the reasons is very much I'm trying to match these in to the new set of Mizunos I've also purchased as well. If you haven't seen that video, guys, make sure you go and check that one out. But I'm trying to match these in with the lofts. So what I mean by that, as you can see on the bottom here, I have got the numbers. I've got 50, 54, and a 58. We won't worry about the bounce number underneath for a moment, so I've got 10, 10, and 8. Now, there's a reason why I bought the 50, the 54, and the 58. So very simply, with my old set, I used to have a 52, a 56, and a 60. However, I found that I didn't use the 60 very much. So actually, what I was looking at is I needed something that went and it was a little bit more playable in my bag. I found the 60 was only really appropriate if I was hitting out of deep bunkers. So I decided to swap to a 58. The reason is that allows me to be a little bit more aggressive in the fairway, but also I can just open that face up just a little bit and get the ball popping up in the air. So I've got my 58 now. Now this is a club, as I was sort of saying, I wouldn't really play a real long shot with. To be honest, I hardly ever hit this club full anyway. However, I wanted something I could be able to control a little bit better if I was hitting into a green. So if I just have a couple of knocks with this one, you'll kind of see the ball's just going to pop up in the air like so. And I mean, 43 yards, I probably would expect this club at most to go about 50. 50 yards and inside. It's now a club that I feel really confident with. I can hit off the fairway and I can just let it sort of pop up. I don't know what it's going to do. And it's a great shot as well for opening it up around the green. So if I wanted to play that more lofted shot, I can simply open that face a bit more and then I can get that ball just popping up in the air and landing really soft. So that for me, it was a really crucial wedge. It was one that I kind of learnt from about using the 60, where the 60, all I could do was that open shot. So it's a little bit of a learning experience as well from the last one, but I knew I wanted a 58, so I set the rest of the clubs in around that. So then it left me with another 2 wedges that personally I needed to fill. I decided that I needed 3 external wedges in my bag just because of how strong a part for me my wedge play is. I like to have that versatility. Some people, especially if you're a beginner, you know, 1 wedge might be more than enough. It might be worth getting that sand wedge just to try to begin with. Maybe 1 external wedge like a gap wedge to fill the gap between the pitching wedge and the sand wedge. So I now had a gap between my pitching wedge, which sits at about 46 degrees, and then obviously the 58 over there. So what I thought is if I can do 4-degree intervals all the way up, so I bought a 50, a 54, then leading up nicely into a 58. The idea is that's going to manage the distance in between the shots. So what I'm hoping now to see is that the 54 goes a little bit further than the 58, but shorter than the 50. And then I kind of got these controlled shots I can hit in between. So the 54 then, why did I not go for a sand wedge that technically is about that 55, 56 mark? Now the reason is I find the 58, any sort of bunker shots and that kind of thing, I can open that up and play it. So with this then, this is more of something I'd like to hit off the fairway and have a bit more of a kind of committed shot. So if I'm trying to find that back pin, trying to hit one in with a bit of spin, this is then that club that I'm hoping I can kind of flight in and control. Now I know that's not going to be the same for everyone, so can I still play this club out of bunkers? Yes. I can still open it up slightly. You can still play those little delicate shots. Doesn't need to be a really hard club to use. You can see I can just kind of get that one open there and actually pop the ball up, very similar to what I can. But I think that it's just a club that, especially with a 56, again, I just found it popped up too high. I found it was too hard to get flighted out to a pin. It just popped up. So the 2 degrees difference there has made a big difference. Now, the great thing is with these is a lot of these are actually fairly malleable when you put them in a vise. You can actually move them around a bit. So I mean, I could easily adjust this 2 degrees if I wanted back to a 56 and adjust them back to the old settings. But at the moment, after playing sort of 2 or 3 rounds with these, I've found they have just been superb in a case of getting that distance out where I want it. I'd always had a problem of coming up short with wedges, but these seem to have solved that. So final one then, I'm looking more towards a gap wedge. So this is a 50 degree. Now the idea now is this is supposed to fill the gap literally between the pitching wedge and towards my sand wedge. So this is just going to allow me to hit shots in between. Because what you find now, especially with clubs being very strong lofted, is that the wedges don't tend to keep up as well anymore. So I've certainly had to strengthen mine for the increase in distance I've got with my new irons. So the 50 degree, I wouldn't play this as much out of bunkers. I wouldn't play this as much around the green. This for me now is purely for the fairway. Normally between 100 to about 110 yards, I would play this club. This for me would then be that yardage. So it's a great one to have that 100-yard shot and just try and sort of flight one in and then try and control it a bit better. So what was the reason also I went for the Callaways? I know a few of you will be asking, why did I go for these? I personally just really like the way they felt. I like the way they look, especially I'm quite a rounded kind of wedge guy. I like the fact they've got quite a rounded front edge. For some people, they're not going to be what they want. They want something a bit squarer. I can completely understand that. But these for me, with the shafts, I've got dynamic golds in these. The idea is trying to keep that ball down a bit. I want to try and see more of a flight especially with the longer stuff, and then to try and sail it out roughly to that sort of 99, 100-yard mark. So when you're looking to buy your wedge, I would personally recommend getting an idea of what's the highest club it's going to be closest, what's the club it's going to be closest to. So for example, if it's a pitching wedge, get a reading on what is the actual loft on that. I mean, you can do that at pretty much any golf shop. Just put it in, they'll put it in the vise for you, they'll give you a degree on the angle. And what you'll find is that you'll be able to then tell what wedges you kind of need around that. So for example, if they tell you it's 45, you're probably then thinking, oh, I could go, if you wanted 3 wedges, you go 50, 55, 60 if you want that extra loft. If you found actually, do you know what, I probably wouldn't need the 60, you might be able to then add in kind of 6-degree gaps, so go 51, 57. Might not even hurt to go straight for 58, but the nice thing is then you can kind of start playing around with your wedges to get a nice consistent gap in between each one, and you'll find it will make it a lot easier. So have a look in your golf bag, have a look what you've got, and then see whether that kind of fits that mold and that trend. And if not, ask yourself, is your wedge play as good as what it can be? Obviously, I'm not saying this is going to make up for technique or anything, but this is just going to make it easier to start controlling those distances. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you really like this sort of content, please give it a like, please give it a subscribe. The channel button is going to be just there. Check out our website at AT Golf Coaching. Thanks very much for watching and I'll see you soon. Thanks.